everyone, I'm Leah. I'm a first-year MPP student here at Goldman, and today is the start of our budget project. So we have, for the last few weeks in our politics core class, been assigned different roles as senators and been negotiating amongst ourselves to try to reach a budget resolution. That will happen officially today and starting in just a few hours, and we'll see if senators are able to come together and get something passed.
Hi, I'm Patty Murray, Senior Senator from Washington State.
So, Senator, what are the Democratic priorities for today?
The main priorities that the Democrats are focused on are one, healthcare, that's very important, two, education, and also infrastructure. So any budget proposal that does not take these into account is not something that we are going to support. We are going to continue to fight for these priorities and fight for American families across the country.
Great, good luck.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Martha McSally, the junior senator from Arizona. Right now we have a moral imperative to trim the budget and cut our bloated administrative programs to free our economy and return money to our taxpayers. The problem is that we've been legislating through the budget process and using the budget process as a means to push political programs across the line, and that's just not sustainable and doesn't lead to good governing. And we need to stop governing from the budget process and instead trim our deficit before it ruins our economy.
Yay.
Yay.
Okay. Rolling it. Nay.
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 The previous highest record was 106% in 1946 during World War II. There are two major ways that the deficit can be reduced. That is, this need not be the case.
Well, these programs will reduce spending by shifting the burden of premiums to individuals with the ability to pay them, ensuring the government does not pay for the costs of privately run programs, and shifting the burden of these changes onto the states rather than on
the number of ships has fallen by more than 50%, and they plan to make it even smaller. Also, they plan to limit our ability to defend our nation from a nuclear attack.
This is actually about the budget. And number two, the fact that we are not reducing it to the lowest historical level that the U.S. has ever seen. We're reducing it to regular historical levels. And by that, even after we reduce it, we still have a budget that's 5 times the size of the next leading countries in terms of our defense. So I ask you, what threat are we potentially facing this year that we were not facing last year, and somehow increasing the budget as you guys are proposing by a couple trillion, how is that going to address this newfound threat?
In increasing rates for S corporations and limited partnerships. Now, I don't know where you guys all come from, but in my home state of Louisiana, that's hurting everyday Americans who are moms and dads.
A 7-year-old girl and her parents. They knew that Congress would be debating implementing caps on Medicaid tonight. Although I'm happy that Gabby is tuned into politics because we need more girls and women in politics, I am saddened to hear the worries of this little girl who should be playing carefree like any other child. Instead, she is concerned about the future of healthcare in the United States because she suffers from a severe chronic asthma condition that has led her to end up in the hospital several times. I, like Gabby, I'm very worried of the cuts Republicans want for Medicaid.
Which is co-sponsored by my respected Democratic colleagues, Senator Warner, and to my understanding, Senator Stabenow, as well as my respected Republican colleague, Senator Toomey. This proposal has common sense solutions that will improve the lives of ordinary Americans.
Our government is being threatened with a debt crisis. According to the latest CPO report, this year's deficit is $960 billion.
Demonstrate that we're listening to the 62% of Americans who want to increase federal spending on infrastructure.
We need leaders who will not use the budget as a political tool to force partisan policies across the line. Legislating through the budget is one of the main reasons we have so many bloated, ineffectual government programs.
Washington
Washington Post, the New York Times, and Fox News that show that 74% of registered Republicans support raising taxes on the rich, specifically wealth taxes, to pay for these social services. So I ask you all here today, who are you really here to represent? Because if you are here to represent your constituents and the best interest of your constituents, you shouldn't be fighting us on these issues, because these are clearly not bipartisan. These are clearly bipartisan issues. Thank you. That's a comment.
Hiring next term, I have a commitment to my constituents, my family, and God to do my job and make sure a reasonable, realistic budget resolution is passed before I leave this office. This is why I am proud to present the Republican budget.
This budget would make a real dent in the burden we are leaving to our grandchildren without cutting Medicare or Social Security or compromising America's safety. I will repeat that. This budget does not cut Medicare or Social Security. What we do cut are exactly the kind of Washington boondoggles that have been allowed to grow unrestrained.
Gone batshit crazy, but this budget is not. The effort to make America great again is not. And what's crazy is for those who will vote against the military, our veterans, and to keep a healthcare system that's failed so many times before. So Dems, please vote.
We've created a simpler tax system. Moms and dads could file their taxes on a postcard if they wanted to. We made necessary changes to our ridiculous taxation system. I mean, government taxes everything.
That will slow economic growth and could reduce projected annual income by up to $6,000 per person by 2040. Interest rates will rise on everything from credit cards to mortgage loans and car payments.
Iowa this morning, actually, because that's how vital it is for me to address this budget issue. The budget is supposed to be a clear indication of American values and priorities. And the way I see it, the government has three core functions and responsibilities.
I'll start out by saying two things. First and foremost is that neither party has in good faith come to the table with a fiscally disciplined budget. And secondly, I also don't believe it's impossible to do so by the end of today. What it puts as well as keeps our nation's health, fiscal and economic in priority. There will be trade-offs.
This is funding for critical programs that millions of Americans rely on, like Social Security, Medicare, and Medicaid. It makes spending cuts to defense while keeping America safe. The budget is dead on arrival. We need a budget that works for all Americans, not just Donald Trump and his millionaire and billionaire friends. We are here today. This is the day we put everyday Americans first and transform our economy to one that works for all of us and not just the 1%. There is only one way we can do that, and that is together.
President Trump is strongly committed to his Make Mars Great Again program. In the next 8 years, we will put American boots on the face of Mars. Stars, and once again renew our commitment to reach out our hands and touch the heavens. With confidence in all of you, and with confidence in the strong vision of our dear leader, President Donald J. Trump, I know America will lead in space once again.
I'm concerned that the amount of frankly, running for president that is happening in this budget process. And I want to urge all of my colleagues to remember that the American people sent us here to cut the deficit and to reduce the debt and to keep the political grandstanding for the cameras outside.
Wherein converting this very popular, very well-funded, very reliable program